Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheikh Ansar from EEE Department, St. Peter's Engineering College. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about root locus. What is meant by root locus? What are the different What is meant by root locus? What are the different rules are there to draw a root locus? And how we are going to find the stability of the system by using a root locus method. The root locus is a technique to find the stability of a given transfer function for the particular system. The root is a scientist which he proposed some rule depending upon the value of gain k when the system is stable, from which value to which value the system is stable, and for which value of k the system is unstable, for what value of k the system is marginally stable. How we are going to define a root locus is nothing but it is simply locus is it is a curve is going to varies from 0 to infinity. The gain values will be going to be varies from 0 to infinity by satisfying the all particular equation. The root locus, the basic definition of a root locus is that the root locus is the path of the roots of the characteristic equation traced out in the S-plane as system parameter is changed from 0 to infinity. Just it is a path. How it will be going to be changed from whenever I am going to change the gain from 0 to infinity. It can be used to describe qualitatively the performance of a system as various parameters are changed. We are having in a system, we are having different parameters like temperature, pressure, different types of parameters will be there. It gives a graphical representation, and at the same time we can find the transient response and also stability of that particular system also. And we can find the range of the stability. For example, if you are telling the system is stable, for which value to which value it will be going to be unstable, that we call it as a range of stability. At which value it will be going to be an instability, also we can we can tell by using a method called root locus method. The root locus concept is that whenever we are giving a transfer function, then you need to identify what is the poles and zeros of the given transfer function. In a transfer function, as we know that C of s by R of s, always it is consisting of poles and zeros. Poles and zeros means it is consisting of numerator and denominator. From the numerator we are getting the zeros, and from the denominator we are getting the poles. And the characteristic equation is that the denominator whatever we are having, that we call it as a characteristic equation. That is nothing but for example, if you are considering a closed loop control system, what is the transfer function of a closed loop transfer function is g of s divided by 1 plus g of s into h of s. In that particular transfer function, the characteristic equation is that 1 plus g of s into h of s is equal to 0. Here also the characteristic equation is 1 plus kg of s is equal to 0. And then if you are substituting k value, just you want to take g of s is nothing but an n of s by d of s, and then we are getting poles and zeros. The first rule construction, whenever you are going to construct a root locus, you need to follow some basic rules. In that first rule is nothing but there are many rules which are used to construct root locus are described, but in that many rules, first we are going to discuss about first rule is that the root locus is symmetrical about the real axis. The root locus is about symmetrical about the real axis. How you are going to find out that thing? whether it is symmetrical to the real axis or not, where the root locus will be exist, in which point the root locus will not going to be an exist. That thing you need to identify first. Here whenever I am giving a transfer function, then you need to find out the poles and zeros. From the denominator we are getting poles, and from the numerator we are getting the zeros. From the denominator we are getting poles, and from the numerator we are getting the zeros. Once if you know that poles and zeros, then you need to recognize that points on the S plane. For example, if you are having a complex poles and zeros, then we are not bothering about the complex poles and zeros. Only whatever the roots, whatever the poles and zeros present on the real axis, that thing only we need to consider whenever we are considering a root locus on the symmetrical axis. In the first case, we are having a triple pole at the origin, triple pole at the in the first case we are having a triple poles, all are present on the real axis. Only one pole is there on the real axis, that also at the origin, and the remaining poles will be on the complex conjugate, so that the where you are having a root locus is nothing but only on the left half of S plane. In the second case, where you are having a double pole, that means where we are having a root locus is nothing but in a simple thing, you need to identify the poles and zeros on the real axis, and then you consider any point on the real axis, and then you check that point whether that point is on the root locus or not. How you are going to find out is nothing but you check on the right half of S plane, that means on a right hand side of that particular point, how many poles and zeros are present. For example, only two poles and zeros are there, that means 2 is an even number, so that that particular point will not exist on the root locus. For example, you consider a point after whenever you are considering a point, and then you check right hand side of that particular point, if there are three poles are there, or three poles or zeros are there, combination also we can consider. Two poles and one zero, that means three poles, two poles and one, three is an odd number, so that particular point will be present on the root locus. Simply consider any point on a real axis, and you check on the right half of on the right hand side of that particular point. If the right hand side of that particular point, if you are having an odd number of poles and zeros, that point will be on the root locus, otherwise that point will not be on the root locus. That is a first rule. Simply consider on real axis only. On real axis you identify all the poles and zeros, and you check, you consider any point, and you check on the right hand side, if it is an odd, that point on the root locus, otherwise not on the root locus. Now the second point is that, second rule is that the branch, each branch, how many root locus branches will be there, that thing we have to know. That each branch of the root locus originates from an open loop pole and ends at infinity or an 0. This is very important point. Each pole will be starts at origin. At origin means here, what is the origin of a root locus branch? Pole. Always the root locus branch will be starts from poles and ends at 0. The root locus is nothing but it will be starts at pole and ends at 0. If 0 is present in the given transfer function, no problem. If 0 is not existing, it will be going to end at infinity. For example, you are having 3 poles in a given transfer function, so that you are having 3 number of root locus branches will be there. If for example you are having only 2 poles at the origin, you are having 2 root locus branches at the origin. In this diagram, in this example, that thing only we given. G of s into h of s is equal to, that means we are giving an s into s plus 2 plus 2js plus 2 minus j. That means how many poles are there? 3 poles are there, whether it at origin or complex poles, whatever it may be. That second rule is that you need to identify how many branches will be present in the root locus. Here the number of poles are 3 and number of zeros. Number of poles is represented with n, number of zeros is represented with m. That means the number of root locus branches will be 3. In the rule 3, you need to find out that segment of the real axis having an odd number of real axis open loop poles, open loop plus and open loop zeros to their right are parts on the root locus. If number of poles plus zeros at right side of the segment, that is a right side of the segment is a part of the root locus, else it is not. That thing only. The for example, you are considering in this case you are considering a -2. Point -2 you need to consider. On the -2 or right hand side, how many poles and zeros are there? Only one. Not complex poles or zeros. Only you need to consider real on the real line only. Only one, so that -2 will, the dark line, the thick line, very thick line will be existing on the root locus. Now the rule 4 is that you need to find out the angle of asymptotes. How you are going to find out the angle of asymptotes is nothing but how many number of asymptotes will be there. That means that is nothing but number of poles minus number of zeros will give the number of asymptotes. To find the asymptotes, we are having one formula, beta is equal to 180 into, in some cases we are going to be consider 180 into 2 cube plus 1 divided by n minus 1. You can take any value, no problem. Number of asymptotes is n minus m equal to 3. Angle of asymptotes, how many angles will be getting? In the last case, what we are taking the here, how many poles we are going to solve this one? How many poles are there? 3 poles. How many zeros are there? 1 0. So that number of poles minus number of zeros is 3. So that number of asymptotes will become 3. Now angle of asymptote, 3 angle of asymptotes we are going to get, beta 1, beta 2 and beta 3. What is the formula to find the asymptote is beta is equal to 180 into 2 cube plus 1, 2x plus 1 divided by n minus m. If you are solving, if you are substituting, here x value will be starts from 0, 1, 2 and so on. And then rule 5 is that you need to find out the centroid, where you are going to place this angle of asymptotes. Centroid formula is sum of real part of poles minus sum of real part of zeros by poles minus zeros. Here we are having 3 poles. You need to add all that real part of the 3 poles and real part of zeros. All there is no zero. If you are substituting, what are the poles you are having? Real part of poles -2 plus 2j. That means the real part is -2. Here he see -2 real part of poles -2 and -0 by poles minus zeros means 3, which is you are getting 1.33. Next you need to identify that the point of intersection, where it will be going to be the point of intersection is nothing but the intersection of the root locus branches with imaginary axis can be determined by use of the Routh criterion. Again, already we know that Routh criteria. The point to find the point of intersection, we are going to use a Routh criterion. Routh criterion means at which point the root locus will be going to be touches an imaginary axis. That means you need to find out characteristic equation for the given transfer function, that is 1 plus g of s into h of s. Then you are getting like this, s cube plus 4s square plus 8s plus k equal to 0. S cube plus 4s square plus 8s plus k equal to 0. We are getting here k marginal value also we need to find out. S cube, s square, s power 1 and s power 0. If you are solving, then we are getting the k marginal value. How? 32 minus k. When the system is stable is nothing but when if the value of 32 minus k by 4 must be equal to 0, then we are going to be marginally stable, right? whenever this value, if it is going to be an equal to 0, the complete row will becomes 0, and if the complete, according to Rouse criteria, if the complete row will be going to be an equal to 0, means the system is an marginally stable. At that marginally k marginally equal to 32, you are going to get marginally stable. Then whenever we are getting an complete row is 0, then we need to write down an auxiliary equation. For this here, what is the auxiliary equation? 4s square. What is the k value? You are getting an 32, and s value you are getting an plus or minus 2.82 j. That means at that particular point, the root locus will be going to be crosses the imaginary axis. And next, eighth rule is that you need to find out an angle of departure and angle of arrival. Angle of departure formula is that 180. You need to find out total angles. How you are going to find out the, with respect to one angle, you need to find out the angle of departure. I can explain once again. Here, angle of departure, again I will explain angle of departure and angle of arrival. Here, see here the simple problem. Number of poles, obtain that number of poles, zeros, and poles and zeros, your root locus on the real axis. Centroid, breakaway point. Breakaway point, how we are going to find out? 1 plus g of s into h of s is equal to 0, and then you need to find out from that you need to find out an k value, and then you find the dk by ds value, then you are getting an s value. If the s value, if you are substituting in the k, if you are getting an k is an positive, that we call it as an valid breakaway point, otherwise not an valid breakaway point. Again I will here I am giving all the rules, rule 1, rule 2. For this problem there are 8 rules we are using the same for the same problem. We go through this once. Again we will explain about the angle of departure and angle of arrival in the next lecture.